Hi, I'm Dr. Jenny Doke-Kerns, and I am Director of Academic Services on the Newton campus. And I also spend a lot of time and work with the Academic Achievement Center. And I just want to let our students know that even though our campus may not be open, we may not be doing a lot of the things we normally do, your Academic Achievement Center is still available to you from home via Zoom, much like we're doing everything these days. So I wanted to take a moment and show you a little bit how to get connected with instructors from the Newton campus, or even instructors from different campuses if you had needs that we're not particularly able to connect you with. So give me a moment, I will share my screen. We are going to go to the DMACC website. And as you know, it's www.dmac.edu. And that's where you sign in for My DMACC, all that good stuff. But for this, all you need to do is go down to the very bottom of the page, and you'll see an area where campuses are listed. And if you're a Newton student, you would go to the Newton campus, or if lots of your classes are focused in the Newton campus. So take a moment when this comes up. There we go. And you'll see here, actually, there are lots of great resources about your Newton campus here. It gives you information on courses and programs, student services, the Career Academy for high school students, HiSET, if you are a HiSET student, that is a high school completion program, and you are also eligible to utilize the Academic Achievement Center tutoring resources online. But as you'll see right here, there is a special tab that does read Academic Achievement Center. So if you click there, that is going to bring up the Academic Achievement Center specific information. And as you'll see, it explains here that normally the Academic Achievement Center on campus is in room 109, and we're open from 9 to 5:30 most days, 9 to noon on Fridays. And students can just pop in and get help from instructors when they need help. But clearly, since we're not open for those regular services right now, we've moved those online via Teams and Collaborate and all of those great resources that we're all getting so familiar with right now. So as you can see, this is what we thought it was important at the Newton campus to have some Newton specific instructors that are willing to work with students, okay? So that's the first thing that we offer here. And as you'll see, we have different instructors who they specialize in different areas. So for instance, on Tuesdays from 11 to 2, we have an instructor available who has worked with math, general study skills, and issues like, like psychology or history, things like that, writing, and HiSET, again, that high school completion program. And again, we like to really note where our math instructors are, because they tend to be very, very popular. We do have from 9 to noon, you'll see right here, we have an instructor who's been teaching writing for several years, and she is available. If you click that one, that's going to actually bring up an email. Oop, wrong one, excuse me. We'll go back to that. But yeah, these will actually, when you click on them, this one will bring you to Blackboard Collaborate. And this is where you sign in, just put your name there, and then it will put you into basically what is like a Zoom meeting with an instructor. So that is wonderful. And again, we don't have as many hours as we normally would. So additionally, what we've also linked to, if you keep continuing down on the screen, is, since we're all working online, it really doesn't matter. You're not required to only use the Academic Achievement Center resources that are available through Newton. You can absolutely use the urban and Ankeny centers as well. So as you'll see down here, we have several different links. Some of them you can work with faculty through email. You may send a paper and ask them to give you feedback, something like that. There's some areas, study skills, tips, and strategies. Here's the online tutoring, and there's a schedule there you can follow. So I think it's just really important right now to make sure you know that even though we're not doing the things that we normally do and we're not meeting face-to-face, you do still have a lot of resources available to you, and they may be more important now to use those than ever. The last thing I wanted to mention really quickly is another service that our Academic Achievement Center brings to campus is disability services. So if you're a student who has accommodations, has been granted accommodations through DMACC, or maybe you feel like you should be, or you had accommodations at another institution like a high school or another college where you attended, I'm the person that you would speak to about that. If you have never applied for disability services through DMACC, it's very simple. You go down here to disability services, and again, to be clear, that's a really broad description, disability services. It can be if you have a visual impairment, if you have an auditory impairment and you need someone to take notes, or you need a sign language interpreter. But it can also be things like if you have test anxiety and you need to test outside of the classroom rather than in a high pressure testing situation. Or if you have a learning disability and it helps you to have maybe additional time on a test. Those kinds of things are definitely available to you if you provide some documentation and are clear about what you need. So in that case, you'd click Disability Services. That takes you to the page which will explain a lot more of that process. But one of the most important things over here is the application itself. So I can't grant the accommodations. I will help you once they've been granted. And if you do have questions in this process, I can definitely help you with that as well. But you would click on the application for accommodations, if that's what you're interested in. And you see there's an online form here. It's going to ask you your specific information about what you're studying and where you're studying it. And it will then ask you for 3 important pieces of information. First, it's going to ask you to describe what your situation is, what your issue is, if it's an anxiety issue, if it's a learning disability. Then it's going to ask, how does that affect the work that you're doing in your classes? And so concrete examples would be really helpful. It might show that you have diminished performance because of anxiety, or if you have a visual impairment, you have trouble seeing what the instructor is presenting. And then the last thing is is ask you, then what can we do to help you with that? So some of the options are extended test time, instructor PowerPoints, preferential seating. Again, maybe you should always be in the front row. Maybe you need someone to take notes for you. So there are several things there. So very important. What is the issue? How does it affect your academics? And what can be done to for us to help you with that? The last thing, it does require documentation. That documentation can be a letter from a doctor or therapist that describes many of those same things we just talked about. Or it could be an already existing 504 plan or IEP that you may have gotten or used when you were in high school. Even if that is slightly out of date, often those are acceptable forms of documentation. So again, most important thing, if you have questions in this process or in the process of connecting with those tutors, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am more than happy to help you or help you get connected with the services that you need or the instructors that you need. And I hope that we can continue to provide those services for you even in this unusual time. So thank you so much for your time today. I hope you have a great semester.